intro is funky. Isn't that nice? That's cool.
It was funky. I was expecting more of a bumper there because it went into the little animation thing and whatever. But hey, we made it.
We're here. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I was slow with getting your wonderful messages of hello onto the screen. I was tweeting about this very stand-up because I forgot to do that until now. It is a 70-ish degrees in Boston, Mass right now, Fahrenheit, which is probably like, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20 Celsius. So it's warm. I'm actually in like a good mood for the first time in 4 months because it's nice out. So, and Dave looks like he's like ready to go out and go for a hike or a bike or.
Yes, I am here to represent my awesome soccer team.
Football, please.
No, it's St. Louis City SC. So we embrace the soccer, apparently. But our city has always had a very vibrant youth soccer culture. And I played club soccer myself growing up and traveled quite a bit doing that. And so it's nice that we have an MLS team now.
Wow.
In particular, we set the record for 5 wins straight as an expansion team, beating out Seattle Sounders for that honor. So
wow,
pretty excited. And they're a lot of fun to watch. So they go the whole distance, the whole game. They never let down. So it's a good time. Does Boston have a team?
We do. We have the New England Revolution.
Oh, that's right. The Revolution.
Yeah. And they play out of Gillette Stadium, same place that the Patriots play.
Okay.
So, yep.
Gotcha. Cool. Do they deflate their balls too, or?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So that they break the toes of the other players, right?
Sure.
Anyways, hi, everybody. Thanks for coming into Community Stand-Up. That means it's the first Thursday in April. I hope you all survived April Fool's Day. I did not. I shared a completely fake article thinking it was very much real, and I'm very upset about it. I almost made it this year too. It was Sunday I saw this article, and I didn't realize it said 1 day ago. So yes, I do look and kind of feel like a zombie today. Thank you, Fuel. So it's fine. I'm That's particularly nice. Gaunt. I went into the office 3 days in a row. So please, I'm a little wiped out. Yeah. Okay. Community stand-up. Oh, since I said I didn't just survive, that's nice. I'm glad it's not because I look like a zombie, which is how I immediately took that, because I feel like a zombie. But thank you.
Share some of your ring cam pics, and you look great.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. If you follow me on my Instagram, I do have a story highlight of me coming into my house at various morning hours with Starbucks and groceries and Target and looking like a complete menace.
We owe your husband for that joy that you bring to us.
It's really great. So, yeah, community stand-up, the way this rolls, we do some blogs, talk about some PRs and some community projects that are going on. Dave has some cool links this month. I'm very excited. And then we have a amazing guest, Dante, who will come on about halfway through to show us the accessibility checker that is now inside of Visual Studio. You might remember our intern, Antonello, joined last summer to talk about the very early baby steps of this. And now it is kind of actually there in the product. Dante is amazing and has worked on accessibility tooling and cares a lot about that from the VS perspective. And really excited to have him come and show us how you can use that kind of stuff with MAUI. Woo. For those of you who haven't heard, by the way, Build is back. There is a Build conference this year. It is hybrid, but more of a focus on in person, the way I'm reading it. There will be an expert meetup. Woo. And I believe both Dave and I are signed up to be experts with which you can meet up. So just so you know, if your company is looking to send you to a conference, that might be a fun one. So we also hopefully will have other folks from the MAUI team there, at least the other PMs. We'll see who we can sneak in from engineering, but we kind of have to, we have to really justify them sending us out there and paying for us to like eat and sleep in a different city when really we just could do this like we usually do. But
that
I won't be there.
That form we had to fill out to go, we list out our expenses apparently. Well, I was on vacation when instructions were given on how to do this form. And so I was like, I saw numbers on the form. I'm like, I guess they already know what the budget is, and I just let it go. Well, the flight, apparently the default value that was in there was insane.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a high number, way higher than what it costs for me to fly. And so yesterday, Chris comes to me, he says, I'm being asked why your flight is like almost $3,000. And I'm like, it's not. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So you know how in grade school or in school, it's like does not read and follow directions? That time it was me. So
Both of us.
you confessed your April Fool's mistake.
Yeah.
I don't do Word document forms apparently.
Yeah. No, I get it. So it happens. All right. Let's slam. Oh, who's that? Am I echoing? It's probably me. I'm probably too loud. Let's slam through some, what's it called? Blogs. Whoa. Oh, there's a new layout, by the way. We can now put ourselves in the bottom right. But I don't know. I kind of like being on the side. Oh no, this is wrong. No, now I'm big. I'm back. I'm back. I figured it out. I totally know how to use StreamYard. Every month there's new features, so I have to like relearn it. All right, if you're new here, this is what we call our URL list. It's been in beta since we started using them 2.5 years ago. So they're wonderful. I will send this again. I recently posted it, but I will post it again. You can follow along with all the things we're looking at. First and foremost, if you are a .NET dev blog follower, you probably remember the performance improvements in .NET novel that Stephen Taub wrote right before .NET 7, I believe. He just wrote one, how async await really works. And async await is one of those things that I type them in and they do the thing. And when they do not work, I ask someone who knows more about async than I do to fix my code for me. This was actually very informative. I could follow it. So definitely check this out. A lot of people really do like his blogs. They are immensely long. That was all me scrolling. Now we're in comments. So enjoy it if you're interested. If not, ignore it. And then the next one is on InfoQ. It is by Almir, who is now on a different blog site than his previous blog site, which was, I believe, self-hosted. I do not have an account on this, which is why I'm not following you, Almir. It's not because I don't like you. He recapped a blog that James Montemagno, who I'm sure many of you who have been around know and love, he posted something about how we're doing specific like desktop feature improvements in MAUI. I think it was the end of January, early February, but Almir gave a recap and provided some examples of stuff and some code and all that great stuff. So feel free to check this out. The biggest thing about this is really we added windowing. So you can have multiple windows and you can open and close them from the main window, which is really helpful. There's also a bunch of like gesture pointer stuff that's gone out. So feel free to look that up. Sweet. All right. Rositza. Sorry. Cool name. Can't pronounce it.
Rosie.
Rosie. Okay. Nice. I like that. Has started a new blog series, things to consider when planning your migration from Xamarin Forms to MAUI. Is my mouse jumping all over the screen on your screen?
It's a little, yeah.
That's weird because on my screen, it's just my mouse. Hold on. Let me try something. Remove. Add. Okay. Weird. Very weird. It's good to know. Okay. So definitely worth a read. Definitely check out your libraries. We say this every time. We have had more and more customers successfully doing MAUI migration. So we're starting to try to compile stories to like actually share those out when it's appropriate. But yeah, this is a cool little blog. I would read it. And then I believe there will be more to come in this series, which is going to be great. All right. Ask Zammy. First of all, love the community toolkit. Second of all, love adding colors to things. Third, love animations. Great blog. But yeah, this is just taking the color animation extensions from the community toolkit and applying them to your button, which is nice. I mean, pink and purple button is perfect. So, oh yeah. So John, if you guys aren't in the YouTube chat, John Calloway, who's part of our amazing .NET community team, I don't know, he does everything. He's amazing. Has says that the mouse thing is a new thing that's happening when you screen share. So that's good to know. Maybe we'll just have to constantly take them off and add them back on to fix it. Oh yeah, it's happening again. That's annoying. John, you have to call your guys over at StreamYard, whoever they are. All right. I don't know if anyone's been on the internet in the past 6 weeks or so, but you've probably heard of this thing, ChatGPT. And Daniel is now doing a blog series to create ChatGPT in a MAUI app. Pretty cool. Oh, I should really show cool blog. Hold on. Let's go to dev blogs. I got a new computer. New keyboard, and it's really, really clicky. So sorry in advance.
What kind of keyboard?
It is from the Pink Stuff, PNK. They're cherry blue.
Okay. Blues? Yeah, blues are pretty clicky.
Yeah, they're clicky. I like it. It looks like a little typewriter too, but it also looks like a bunch of lipsticks.
Okay.
It's very fancy. It's not nice. I don't particularly like the way it feels. I think I'm going to add cotton into it. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying looking at it. All right, Copilot Chat in Visual Studio. By the way, you should go read this blog. It has context of your app that you're building. It's very cool. I have, in fact, used it. And so I put in it, write a unit test for this function, and it did that thing. It was very cool. So check it out. It's still in private preview, but related to an amazing ChatGPT MAUI implementation, of course. All right. Jesse Liberty just came out with his book, .NET MAUI for C# developers. So if you want a book, that's a good book to get, I think. Now he's starting a new blog series, Advanced .NET MAUI Topics Part 1. And he's starting off with Visual State, which is a pretty important advanced-ish topic. So good to start. Okay. I'm flying because I want to give Dave plenty of time before the potential electricians come and show up to his house. Things. So Blazor Hybrid. We love it. People are really, really liking Blazor Hybrid so far. If anyone's using it, we'd love to talk to you because everyone we've talked to has had really good, all positive reviews. So that's exciting. But this one's really about Blazor Hybrid and WinUI 3 playing together nicely. So check it out if you're interested. Oh, Mark, I hope you're here. You're probably sleeping or eating dinner. I don't know what time it is in Germany, Switzerland. But hi, thank you for writing this blog because I asked someone the other day, how do we run unit tests on devices? And it turns out you can actually use Shiny. Shiny has a test runner based on XUnit for MAUI that will help you run unit tests on your device. I've always been of the mindset that my unit tests are for my business logic, which lives in a different project. So I would just test that project, but that's apparently wrong. So I need to go talk to the testing people and figure that out, which is exciting. So thanks, Mark, for this blog. It's helpful. And then, Ryan, hope you're doing well. It's 6 a.m. for him or something crazy. But this blog, not only very informative about how Rosetta just lives on your M1 Mac for a while, even if you're not using it. Also, very punny and alarming discovery. Very good. I enjoyed it. But yeah, so apparently there's a bunch of stuff. Oh, VJ, you just joined. You missed your blog by 2 blogs. But thank you for the Blazor Hybrid blog. It was awesome. Yeah, so apparently Mono AOT does some stuff on your Mac that is not really native until you force it. So Ryan wrote this blog to talk to you about it. It's pretty awesome. I have not actually gone through and tried this myself, but I did read it and said, look, that's nice. The processes are running on Apple. So cool things all around here. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I'm gonna let Dave share his screen.
Oh, we were talking to a customer developer team just yesterday, and they were mentioning on their M1 machines that they saw, once they got Rosetta out of the way, I think they saw like 2,000, some thousands % faster build times. It's pretty slick. All right, entire screen. So hoping that we can all soon be taking advantage of that.
Ooh.
All right, so I think you actually had some Tim Miller stuff in your URL list, or maybe it was just all my stuff. I guess it was probably my stuff.
It was yours.
So many of you may know Mr. Tim Miller works with us and works on the tooling team. So he has this app, MAUI Feed. It is a Windows and Mac desktop application built with .NET MAUI. And does some nice stuff in there. So if you're looking for a good reference app, something to poke at and see how a good app is architected, highly recommend this one. And then I want to just point in general to Tim's repositories, because it seems like every morning I wake up to a tweet from Tim saying, oh, I was doing something and I bound another library. And so here's a new binding to this native library for doing some Android or iOS thing. And one of the most recent ones I noticed was this forbidden controls. So, there are APIs you can get into in Apple's App Kit and through Catalyst and things like that are not necessarily documented, might get you, rejected from the App Store. But if you want to use them, you can. It's at your own risk, right? So that was kind of interesting. Another interesting one here was Flipper. Flipper, if I recall, is kind of like an inspector, a 3D inspector for your app. So Flipper's an app you run, then you have this library package running in your application, and you can do all of your UI inspection. And yeah, check it out. I don't want to make promises about all the functionality of it, but looks really great. So Tim, thanks for all the awesome work that you've been doing. Love to see it. Love to see how quickly you're able to pump stuff out. Has anyone heard of FFmpeg loading? Anybody? Anywhere? Oh, it's time to be real, Maddy. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Do we do this in the middle of
We have to do this. Be Real is like the best app that's ever been invented. So.
It's the worst camera, but yeah. All right. Where are you? So it takes pictures on both sides of the camera, as you can tell, and you're supposed to do it within 2 minutes, and it's supposed to be real. You can't go, set up your Instagram filters and your lighting and everything. We just happen to have decent lighting, although apparently you look like a zombie, so I'm sorry about that. Which you don't. All right, back to the regularly scheduled program. FFM is loading. Mr. Jonathan Dick, our fearless leader on the SDK MAUI team, took the FFmpeg loading library, forked it, and created a compat package. So not porting everything over to handlers. This is just really something to get Xamarin applications and Xamarin Forms applications by during this transition. Glide is now part of .NET MAUI, so your Android images are already benefiting from that. iOS is in a pretty decent state, but you have other packages like, what is it called? Nuke or something like that from Sharpnado. He bound that library package. And so you could take advantage of that. Wouldn't recommend taking a deep dependency on this, but if you're looking for something to get you by so you don't have to rewrite a bunch of FFmpeg code in your projects on your way to .NET MAUI, this is a great solution for you. So you can find the NuGet packages on the build pipeline. He hasn't done a release yet, but it's here for you, right? So check it out. We have worked with customers to use this package. So far, everything is A-okay. So I have run the gallery myself. We worked through some of the bugs, so feel pretty confident that this is in a good place. This is really exciting. So you may or may not know this. This will be in my blog post for the next .NET 8 release for MAUI. But in .NET 8, we have taken the MAUI cross-platform bits and we've moved them into consumable NuGet packages. So everything that we have been distributing through the .NET workload installer is hosted on the NuGet infrastructure, and they are kind of NuGet packages, but not in the way that you traditionally think of them. So you aren't able to just grab them and use them individually. You have to use the workload installer. Well, now you have the option of going to any pull request, any commit on GitHub for .NET 8 and grabbing the NuGet packages. So I wanted to show that to you real quick. I had pulled a few things up here. Let me see if I can bring it back up. So, was it this one? Was it this one? Oh, look how my screen's all jacked up. Did it mess up on the live stream too? Yeah, it's like ghosted over there or something. Anyway, back to this and back to this. So I downloaded NuGet packages off of GitHub. And if you don't know how to do that, you essentially can go to any commit and you see a green check mark. You typically want the green check marks. Red check mark might be okay. Means something failed in the builds test, the build process. But you can go to any of the green checks. You can find your way to Azure build pipelines, look for the artifacts, and then download the NuGet artifacts. Once you've downloaded the NuGet artifacts, then you have those that you can extract. And you can see that for .NET 8 now, I have all of these nupkegs, all these NuGet packages. So I can grab all of those, I can copy them, drop them into my local folder where I keep local NuGet packages. And then I'm going to grab the version number off the end of it, because I can now go into Visual Studio, and on my system, I can make sure that, of course, I would go to .NET 8 because this is a .NET 8 package, but the pull request that I'm showing you is actually .NET 7. And to make this work, I do MAUI version and then that. Now, when this goes to look for the MAUI workload, it is going to look at this version. And I need to make sure that I also have a NuGet config set up so that it knows about my local NuGet packages, which I've already done. So this is something that we're working on bringing as well to .NET 7, so that as you are waiting for the big, wonderful .NET 8 release, you don't have to block on, hey, that bug fix is only going to ship in .NET 8. You can actually unblock yourself by grabbing the NuGet packages directly off of the build pipelines. And that's super flexible. I love it because it helps me to validate fixes immediately without waiting for a whole workload install package to come, right? So if you used Xamarin Forms in the past or you're using Xamarin Forms now, this will be very familiar to you. This is how we did things there with nightly feeds, et cetera, et cetera. So excited to be able to bring something like this back for a whole lot of flexibility and to keep everybody moving faster. And there was much applause. In terms of like themes of the bug fixing work that has been happening in MAUI, quality is absolutely the #1 priority. It's what we're pushing hard on. And we have lots of team members from across .NET and Visual Studio pitching in. So love the momentum that we have. One of the themes is keyboard. So we have seen plenty of issues opened around, hey, the keyboard's overlapping the entry field. It's not responding to focus events and things like that. So you can see open and merged issues. Some of these are already merged, more test coverage and things like that. So if you've been struggling with keyboard related issues, here's a focused effort that you can look forward to in every release coming. So those that have already been merged, you're going to be getting a .NET 7 service release and a .NET 8 preview release very soon. What else are we working on? Well, collection view, remaining items threshold reached. So this is Mike. Mike is one of our engineers on the Visual Studio team, and he has pitched in and made this wonderful fix for collection view. Thanks, Mike. So exciting to see that collaboration, and anything that improves collection view, super excited about. What else can you expect coming up in the next service release? Bug fixes, bug fixes, bug fixes. Yay. So lots of great stuff here. Some memory leak fixes, some crash fixes. Mr. Jonathan Peppers has been doing an awesome job identifying and squashing, or that's probably not the right word because that actually has a different meaning, fixing the memory leaks. So excited about that. Even some updates to API docs. So documentation's getting better there. And yes, awesome release. And this is a draft from a few weeks ago. It might actually have more stuff in it now. That GitHub Actions person is active. Hi, Gerald. I posted this, I guess. Yeah. So you mentioned one of the articles in here from Rositza, and so that's part of this. But I have opened up a new discussion category on the .NET MAUI repository specific to migration stuff, because I was looking at our docs and I was looking at, we used to have a wiki and things like that, and I was feeling like there was really a missing forum, if you will. And there may be over on the QA side of things a forum, but this brings it right into the repository, where if you're dealing with migration upgrade issues going from Xamarin to .NET, or you've found something that works really well for you and you want to share it so everybody else can benefit from it, I recommend this as a great place to do that. And so I started off, I've linked to the documentation, some of the great videos that are out there using the .NET Upgrade Assistant. We have a new release of the .NET Upgrade Assistant that should be coming out very soon. We're about, I think the last one that was released was about 2 months ago. And we've made quite a few improvements there, including Mac support, which I have used and it works. So excited about that. And lots of other fixes to make it a really useful tool. But then, of course, there's plenty of other things that you need to take care of. So here are some great articles from several of our partners, Progress, DevExpress, and then community members as well. And then some of those that were older, but on the Xamarin blog. So wanted to highlight that. I saw that we do have a branch of some initial work on the camera view within the community toolkit. I myself need a camera view in almost every app that I build for some reason. And so I just keep kind of copying files from one project to another, but would love to be able to use a library package like this. But this is still in draft, so it's not available yet. And so I'm super excited that this library is available, and it looks like it has great support for tons of stuff, including barcode detection and decoding. So it takes a dependency, or it borrows the implementation from ZXing or ZXing or Z crossing or zebra crossing or animal crossing. I don't know. Some of the names escape me. But this is a good looking implementation of a camera view, and I am jazzed to give it a shot. So if anybody else has tried it, this is on NuGet.org. We can all drop it into our Net 6, Net 7, Net 8 projects and give it a whirl. Cameraview.maui too. This is cameraview.maui,
no,
Gerald.
So I was going to say, this is how you know that we don't stage Gerald in the chat, because you literally pulled this up, and I think just the delay, he typed that, like, I came through the feed right after you pulled it up live, which was probably like 3 seconds before you pulled it up in the stream. So that's how you know. That's not staged. Gerald's just here for fun.
Hey, pretty soon I will just replace myself with Gerald on this thing, and then I can go back to writing apps.
Wait, what if I replace myself with Gerald?
Well, I think, it's more of a like for like over here, right? We both have kind of the hair that is a little spiky on the top.
The vertical hair.
So that's what I brought for everybody today. There's tons of awesome other stuff out there. I've seen people sharing their app experiments and people sharing the apps that they've been releasing. I know I saw a huge list of apps in the Google Play Store using MAUI recently. So excited to see that people are having success with MAUI and with the Blazor hybrid stuff. And don't believe everything you read on Reddit, I guess, is the thing that I would say there.
And that applies not just to April Fool's Day.
Yes, not just April Fool's
but
Day.
all days. Although sometimes, you know, some of the Reddit posts that are very obviously fake, I want them to be real because they're so dramatic, you know? Like the relationship advice ones, those are always fun. But then people are like, these are fake. And I'm like, they probably are, but they're fun, you know? So, anyways, all right. Thanks, Dave. You can hang out here until your electricity guy shows up and heckle Dante with us, who I will be pulling on momentarily. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the party.
Hey, Maddy. Thanks for inviting me here.
Of course. Why don't you give everybody a quick introduction of who you are?
Sure. So my name's Dante Gagne. I am one of the product managers on the Visual Studio team, and my main responsibility is accessibility now. So I do a lot of work for accessibility. I own the long-term strategy for Visual Studio. My main things I worry about are how do we make sure Visual Studio is usable for everybody, folks with disabilities, folks on the neurodiverse spectrum, folks like that. We want to make sure the Visual Studio is the best environment for everybody to be able to be their best with whatever abilities that you happen to have. But also recently, we've been looking to make sure that Visual Studio is the best tool for people to be able to make accessible applications. So we want to make sure that if you're making applications with Visual Studio, you can make applications that anybody can use. And that's why I reached out to Maddy and the .net folks to kind of chat with folks today to talk about some of the tools that we've been doing to try to work on that story, to make sure that if you're using Visual Studio, you're using MAUI, you're using our tools, you're going to be able to make applications that are going to be able to help everybody be able to use your applications, regardless of what their any abilities or disabilities that they might have. So yeah, with that, let me go ahead and let me show you what I brought today. So if folks remember, I don't remember how long ago it was, but we had Antonella on, who was one of our interns who was working on a intern project that was taking the Axe Windows engine. So going back a little bit, Accessibility Insights is a tool that Microsoft has. It's an open source tool that allows you to scan either a desktop, a web application, some mobile applications, looking for common accessibility issues. It doesn't scan for everything, but it looks for some of the worst ones. So if one of your users is using a screen reader or speech recognition or something like that, there are certain issues that you might have that could give a screen reader user certain problems. Accessibility Insights would help you detect those issues and make sure that folks aren't going to have problems. That's driven by the Axe Windows engine. And what Antonella worked on was bringing that engine into Visual Studio. And she did a great job. She kind of laid the framework. And from there, we built on top of that to bring that tool into Visual Studio. And that's what I want to show you today. Let me share my screen here.
Cool.
Let me go ahead and get it started.
I'm trying to find Antonella's Twitter. I believe it was August last year.
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, end of her internship, and she now is back at Microsoft. She's working in Azure stuff. Question mark?
I believe that's correct. I know she wanted to continue to work on the MAUI stuff, but I know Azure is where she ended up right now. But I know she's really happy over where she is right now. So yep. So I think I'm sharing right now. Yep, there we are.
Bam, got it.
So here we are. I know this is one of the MAUI Pets application. Let me go ahead and start running the application. I'm sure a lot of folks, I don't do a lot of work in development as much anymore as I'm a product manager, but let me go ahead and get it started. And I hope the spirits of the demos are going to be happy with me today. But yeah, this is a very simple MAUI application once this comes up. So for folks who've done accessibility work, we can only scan a running application. And a lot of that comes from the fact that when you're working with desktop applications, there are a lot of different ways that you can implement accessibility. You can do it at runtime, you can do it in the markup. There's a lot of different ways. So we really can only test for accessibility when the application is running. So the tools that we've got here are going to wait until the application is running and then be able to scan. So, okay, application is running. I'm going to go ahead and click on Stevie Girl. And this is the page I want to scan for accessibility. In the in-app toolbar, or whatever it's called these days, there's a button here for scan for accessibility issues. That button is also available here in the live visual tree. Either one does the same thing. And when I click on it, the accessibility checker is going to come up and it's going to show me a handful of accessibility issues. Now, each one of these represents something that may cause a less than ideal issue for a user who's got disabilities. Most accessibility issues that it's going to detect are ones that are going to cause problems for your screen reader users or users who use speech control, like Dragon Naturally Speaking. So what this means for folks who haven't worked with accessibility, screen readers are a tool that somebody who is blind or visually impaired, it's an application that will describe your application to the user. So for instance, if focus is on a label, the screen reader will read off the name of that control to the user, and then there are special controls that allow the user to navigate around the application. If the name of that control is not properly represented, all the screen reader user gets told is, it's a button. Which, imagine if all of your controls in your application are only described as, it's a button. Kind of makes it hard to know how to interact with your application. And well, this tool will help you detect when your buttons don't have proper labels, which will then allow your screen reader users to be able to detect it. Similarly, if your button doesn't have a name, when your speech control user, like somebody say who has a mobility issue, they don't have the ability to interact with their mouse and keyboard, they have to say, push the cancel button. And the speech recognition system will look through your application, look for a button named cancel, and then programmatically invoke that button. Well, if the button doesn't have the name properly exposed, it can't find the button and they can't invoke it. This tool will help you detect those. And what it's doing here is saying, well, the name property here has got Unicode characters. That means the user can't describe what that character is. A speech control user won't be able to invoke that because they can't vocally describe, well, in this case, the paw print. So when I click that error, it's going to show me, oh, it's this label. Okay, well, let's find that label. So I'm going to go to my in-app toolbar. I'm going to find that control and click on it. And here in the live visual tree, it's this label. I can click on it, and here is that particular control. All right, and now I need to fix it. And it's telling me, all right, modify the name property, removing all those characters. Well, MAUI is kind of helpful for me. What it's going to do is, since I'm not specifically specifying that automation property, it's going to intuit what it is by looking at the label of the control and substituting it for me. So since I'm not explicitly specifying it, it looks at the label and says, well, maybe that's what the name should be. Well, what is the label? Well, the formatted text here is this Unicode character followed by breed. So that's where it's getting it from. And that's why it's telling me there's a Unicode character in it. So the solution here is to explicitly specify it. So, and my mind just went blank. Maddy, what's the property I'm looking for again?
I got you. Semantic properties.
Thank you. So it's semantic properties dot description. And I'm going to call this is the breed. Yep, breed. So I'm going to call this breed label. And since this is XAML, this is going to be immediately pushed to the application. So I'm going to push the play button here to rescan the application, and that error goes away. So now, since I'm explicitly specifying the automation property, or now semantic properties in MAUI, now MAUI is not automatically generating that for me. It doesn't have to figure it out itself. I'm explicitly specifying it. Now, when the screen reader comes in, it goes, oh, okay, it's breed label. I don't need to try to figure out what it is. And now the automation system is going to work correctly. All the pieces work. And now my screen reader user, my speech control user, they're not going to run into this issue. I just need to go through all these accessibility issues one by one, get them all fixed up, and that's going to be less issues that may impact my user. Now, again, this tool isn't going to find every accessibility issue. Unfortunately, there is no way to test for all accessibility issues programmatically, but the Axe Windows issue finds a lot of the more egregious ones. They're going to find a lot of the big ones, and if you can knock these out, it's going to solve a fair amount of the worst issues. Nothing's going to replace talking to your users who have disabilities and making sure that they are able to use your app, but this is a great first start, and it's a great way to get to it. And again, it's as simple as just clicking that button in your live visual tree, navigating to whatever page you want to work with, and just work with it and find out, use this to get through some of those issues. And it's a great first start. Now, this is our first step. And like I said, we want to have more tools in Visual Studio to help users make accessible applications. The World Health Organization says that 1 out of 10 adults have got a disability of some kind. For some folks, it's a physical or visible disability, like blindness, motor disabilities, or something like that. For some folks, it's an invisible disability. Like I myself, I have ADHD. I identify as neurodiverse. Cognitive load is an issue for me. And if you notice, I use larger text. I use things like, I use ligatures in my code. So I have, I like to use, like, for instance, do I have a C# file open? Well, no, not at the moment. But when I use certain strings of characters, they get put together into ligatures, which I find easier to represent. And I just broke my XAML, but I'll fix that. There are different things that we put in Visual Studio to make it more comfortable, and making your applications more accessible just makes it easier and more comfortable for your users, which opens it up to, if people have got a choice between different applications, we're finding that people want to use the applications that are more comfortable to them. And accessibility is one of the ways that we want to do it. So we're looking for folks to use these applications. We want to hear how this is helping your applications, helping your reach and things like that. Engage with us. We want to know how this stuff is working for you. I don't have the link off the top of my head, but definitely engage with us on the blog and the developer community. We'd love to know what your experiences are and how we can make this better for you. Just anywhere that we're getting feedback and how we can make this better, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I put the link to your blog from March in the list of links, the link of links. So let me pop that back up. Wow, this looks great. So when can people use this?
The accessibility checker is available, and it's in the GA channel already. So if you've got update 17.5, it should be available right now.
Cool.
And the accessibility checker supports any XAML-based application. So it works for MAUI, works for WPF. We're working right now. I can't give an idea exactly when, but we are working on bringing it to any desktop-based application. So we're looking to bring it to WinForms as well in the future. I don't know exactly when. I know this isn't necessarily a community that focuses heavily on that, but that's on our roadmap as well. And basically, we want to bring tools to help developers make accessible applications across the board, because this is something that we want to make sure. We want developers working with Visual Studio to have more confidence that their applications are accessible. This is just one of our goals that we're building on. And it's a new space for us, because we've got tools to help you make performant applications that can check for memory and things like that. We want accessibility to be an important part of it, because, like I said, it's an area that we feel we've got an opportunity. We're looking into places where we can help, maybe with AI and things like that. I mentioned before that there's no way to programmatically detect all accessibility issues, but are there ways that we can use AI to maybe give some detection? We're looking into things like that, and it's all kind of experimental and things like that. Alex asks if there's a way for Avalonia to integrate with the accessibility checker. I don't know enough about that right now, but I can talk and find out about that. That's something I don't have enough experience with, but I'll find out. I don't know. But
yeah, that's a good question. You answered one of the questions I was going to ask, which was, I saw in the chat, Fuel Snable had asked if the new generation of AI tools will help improve accessibility. And you're already thinking about it.
Yeah, it absolutely is. There are places where we want to bring AI in, because, I mean, solving accessibility issues, it's nice here that we can say, okay, the name property must not contain characters in the Unicode range. That would be an easy thing for an AI to be able to figure out how to fix. Focusable elements must not be null. A lot of these things would be very easy for an AI to be able to detect how to fix. And these are some of the fairly easy issues. There are some that are a little bit more complicated. Are there ways that we could train an AI to solve some of these? Are there ways that we could detect some of them? We're experimenting into that. Also, screen readers might benefit from AI, perhaps. I know that some of the screen readers are looking into that. There's a lot of exciting areas that we are exploring right now, like the AI chat applications that are coming out right now. There are definitely crossovers with accessibility things that we're exploring there. There's a lot of things. there are things we're exploring right now that I can't really disclose right now. There's a lot of exciting things going on right now. I could go on and probably shouldn't in some places, but there's a lot of things that we would love to explore. And I will stop talking before I get myself into trouble. But there's some exciting things we want to explore it, and we'd love to hear from folks who are thinking about things in this spaces and keep asking the questions, because we want to know where people are excited, where people are thinking. And if people are excited in this area and people are asking, hey, here's things that we want to do with it, and here's things that we would love to investigate, here are things that my company wants to explore and things like that, that is only going to help us. Basically, I know I'm not the only one who says it, but we really, when we're deciding what we want to be working on next, it's the feedback from the community, and it's this is what's exciting our community that helps us decide where we're going to be investing our time and energy next. So help give us that feedback, keep engaging with us to let us know what we're talking about that's exciting you, and that's how we're going to decide what we're going to be investing in next.
Nice. Wow, are you a PM or something? I mean, really? No.
That's what the title thing. I've been PM now for, I think, I've been in this role now for 14 years. And I was originally a tester on the blend team, and I realized that, sitting and just breaking things was fun, but making things was a little bit more interesting to me. And it's been, I've never looked back. I still test things once in a while, but being a PM, being able to engage with folks and getting their excitement has been really a thing for me. And I'll tell you, working with folks in the accessibility community and seeing what I really got inspired working with folks with disabilities and seeing what they could do. And the first time I realized that the more accessible we make Visual Studio helps people with disabilities and the amazing things that we can do. And every time we get something wrong, it only stops them from being amazing. That's why I keep doing what I'm doing. I've been doing accessibility now for about 7 years, and you'll never get me to go back. It's something I'm really passionate about, and I love doing, and I love seeing what we can do with it. And now getting the opportunity to help other people extend that ability and be able to make their applications accessible, it's infectious. Other people, when they realize just how they can help everybody else do more, it just it steamrolls, and everybody else gets into it. And I'm glad to be able to build that out.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Dante earlier had asked, automation properties, semantic properties, all these things. I just posted a link in the chats to Rachel Kang's session from .NET Conf in the fall. She was one of the MAUI team members who really worked on and owned a lot of the accessibility semantic property stuff. So they were called automation properties in Xamarin. They're called automation properties in a lot of the desktop frameworks. We're starting to call them semantic properties now because they're, specifically about semantics of it. What's great about semantic properties is they expose levels. So you can actually order your headings and how the screen reader will go and read things, even if it's not actually ordered like that on the page, which makes it really, really helpful. So that's a cool watch. She also has blogs. They're probably 1.5 years old now, though. Maybe it's time for her to make some new blogs, Rachel, if you're here. Dante, a question. Does this work with the web content in a web view, specifically a Blazor web view?
So does it work with the web view? I do not believe it does. This is only going to be able to scan basically any of the this is only going to be able to scan controls that expose their elements through the UI automation tree, and anything that goes through a web view is going to I can't remember the name of the tree, but there is a separate tree that exposes HTML-based controls. So if you're using something through a web view control, there's a separate process to do it. So this won't work through that, but there is a way to do accessibility checking for web-based controls. It's just not integrated through Visual Studio. I will see if I can find the information on that, and Maddy, I'll pass that to you so you can get that to the community. But there is a way to do it. It's just not through this same tool.
Hey, if you want to do it through this tool, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
I would like that. So, I mean, basically the way semantic properties work is, if the content in your web view is accessible, then your web view itself will also be accessible, but you have to make sure that you're doing that with the content. So that's really cool. Yep. And the browser's dev tools do have accessibility checkers. So if you're doing a Blazor hybrid app, you can F11 or whatever it is on the operating system you're on to use your native default dev tools for the web.
Yeah.
Those
tools are absolutely wonderful. What we didn't have was good equivalent tools for the desktop applications, and that's what this represents.
Yeah, which is awesome. Cool. All right. I don't see any more questions rolling in through the chat. Dave, do you have any questions?
So have you done any exploration on how this could work with C#?
How this could work with C#. So sorry, for C#, what are you referring to? So if
I have a MAUI application with no XAML and all of my UI is described in C#.
So I think that would work very similar to the WinForms workflow that we're planning right now. So basically, when the accessibility checker comes up, the window down at the bottom here, that's going to scan the running application. That doesn't actually need the XAML tree or anything like that. And the overlay that it does. So when I click one of these controls and it puts the, let me click one of them. So it puts the red box around the control to indicate which control has got the accessibility issue in it. That flow doesn't actually need the XAML. All of that is being done purely through the UI automation tree. The only part that needs the XAML is the part where I can click on the in-app toolbar, find the control, and be able to go to the source. So I would be able to give you through a pure C# application, the part without the XAML. I can give you this part that helps you find the control visually. I wouldn't be able to give you the part that says, find me where in the source this particular control is defined, and help you get through that part of the workflow. So I can give you half of it. I can't give you the other half.
The good news is I can give you the other half, and we are going to give you the other half. There's actually, so you should be able to select elements that are written in C# with that selector. It's not as clean and accurate as the XAML is right now. A whole bunch of reasons for it. But they do pop up in the live visual tree, even if they're described in C#. They're missing those two little brackets, which is what we call source info, or like go to source, right? So we are working on adding that back in so that if you do have C# UI, because those are really, it's really just a tree of elements. It doesn't really matter if it's XAML or C#, right? So we're working on making sure that C# created controls also send back their source info. So soon enough, this will just magically work. I mean, really, like what Dante said, nothing about this is XAML until you get into the actual like tools at the end, which is how I know I have to do more work. So thanks.
I love this. I mean, when you were able to fix that accessibility issue with hot reload and just keep rolling, I'm like, okay, that's
that's the magic of the whole thing. I mean, being able to do the hot reload, being able to find it, and so on. It's the goal of this entire project was, so for context, I did a bunch of interviews with enterprise customers early last year, and the message I got was enterprise customers, even if it wasn't a priority or requirement, they would happily fix accessibility issues if it was easy, if it didn't take a lot of time. The problem is when they're under deadlines, they've got requirements and things like that. It's just, they can't take time out of what they're doing in order to take it. If we can make it as easy as possible, they would be happy to do it. Some of them don't have the ability to install additional tools on their machine because their machines are locked down. Some of them don't have the understanding or expertise to be able to scan for, identify issues, and fix them. All of these are blockers to do it. But if it's as easy as click the item, here's the control, okay? Find the control, click it, go to source, there it is, add the property, and I can fix the issue that quickly. Okay, in my case, I forgot that with semantic properties, but once I know that and I understand that, and it takes me that quick to fix it, they understand and they'll do it. Out of the folks I talked to, more than half of them knew somebody with a disability and said, yeah, I want to be able to fix these issues. I just don't know how to quickly find them and fix them. These are the tools. We wanted to make that barrier to fix as short as possible so that it is just click, click, click. Oh, okay, fix that, fix that, fix that. And if we could get to the point where I could right click and say, fix this issue, because it is as simple as just semantic properties.name equals, and then you just type in what you want it to be, like with a snippet or something like that, it would just be blazing through these and you're set. That's what we'd love to build to. The question is, would people use it? Do people want it? That's why we want to bring these out and get people using it and get people saying, yeah, this is something I would use. This is something I would do in my day-to-day. And if we get that feedback, we hear more of that, that would be awesome. And that would be something. It's time, it's energy. And, the first half of this, y'all were talking about all the great investments and bug fixes and things like that. To build more on this, that would be time that we wouldn't be able to maybe spend as much time on some of the other bug fixes. We want to make sure we're doing the right things. And if this is something that our community would find important, we'll prioritize it. If the bug fixes and the memory fixes and things like that is more important, maybe this comes a little further down the list. We just want to make sure we're doing the right thing that our community wants.
Absolutely. Love it.
Love it. Well, that's a good way to end it, huh? Do what the community wants. And that's what we do on Community Stand Up. Bam. Get it on a shirt. Cool. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next month, May 4th. Yes. Oh my God, I forgot it's May the 4th. Oh, Dave, you're so screwed. I'm so sorry in advance. May the 4th is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. So sorry in advance, Dave. But it'll be a great one. We'll probably do some build preview stuff. And I don't know. Let us know what you want. Send me your blogs and all those things that you want us to share. And Dante, thank you again for joining. It's been a pleasure. So appreciate it. I can't wait to go look at all my apps and find my accessibility issues because I want the list to just be back to 0. It's like having no emails, except it's no accessibility issues in my app. So pretty good. But Dave, thanks. I hope you get your charger installed.
It's happening.
Woo, love it. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next month.
See ya.